Welcome to my YouTube channel Family Drama Files. Please like, share, subscribe for more emotional videos.
The day my parents died, I lost my family. 3 days later, my own brother changed the locks, threw my suitcase onto the sidewalk, and smiled as he whispered, "You own nothing now." I believed him, until the lawyer opened one final sealed envelope that my parents had hidden for years. What happened next left everyone in that room speechless. When both of my parents passed away within months of each other, I thought grief would be the hardest part of my life. I was wrong. The funeral ended, relatives hugged each other, and before the flowers had even begun to fade, my older brother told me the house belonged to him now. He packed my belongings into garbage bags, placed them on the driveway, and locked the front door behind me. I spent the next several weeks sleeping wherever I could. Friends helped when they were able, but eventually I found myself living in a cheap motel while trying to rebuild my life. Then came the phone call. "The will is being read on Friday. Your presence is required." When I walked into the lawyer's office, everyone looked at me with pity. My brother laughed quietly and whispered, "Hope you're enjoying being homeless." The lawyer ignored him and calmly began reading my parents' will. The family home. To my brother. The vacation cabin. Also to my brother. Several bank accounts. Again, to my brother. He couldn't stop smiling. He leaned back in his chair as relatives congratulated him before the meeting had even finished. Then the lawyer stopped. He removed another envelope from a locked briefcase. This section, he said, was written with instructions to be opened only after the main estate had been distributed. The room became silent. Inside was a handwritten letter from my parents. They explained that while everyone believed they had treated both children equally, years earlier, they had quietly created a private investment company in my name. Every birthday, every Christmas, every bonus my father earned, every dividend from my mother's business. Instead of expensive gifts, they had invested everything. No one knew, not even me. The lawyer smiled for the first time. He placed several documents on the table. The investments had grown for more than 20 years. Real estate, technology stocks, private business shares, international index funds. The total value was far beyond anything the family expected. My brother interrupted. "That's impossible." The lawyer calmly replied, "These assets were never part of the estate because they have legally belonged to the younger child for over 2 decades. The room fell completely silent. Several relatives stared at the financial statement in disbelief. My brother's face turned white. Moments earlier, he believed he had won everything. Now he realized the house he inherited represented only a tiny fraction of the wealth my parents had quietly built. He stood up, tried to speak, grabbed the table for support, and collapsed onto the floor. No one laughed. No one celebrated. Because at that moment, everyone understood the lesson my parents wanted to leave behind. Real wealth isn't always visible. The people who brag the loudest often know the least, and those who are underestimated sometimes hold the greatest future. I walked out of that office carrying no revenge, only gratitude. For parents who planned decades ahead and protected me even after they were gone. As I stepped outside, I looked back at the building one last time. My brother had inherited a house. I had inherited my parents' faith in my future. Wealth can buy property, but love, wisdom, and patience build a legacy that no one can steal. Sometimes karma doesn't arrive with anger. It arrives with paperwork. As I walked away, I realized my parents had never intended to make me rich overnight. They had spent years making sure I would never depend on anyone else's kindness. My brother inherited walls, but I inherited freedom. The relatives who ignored me suddenly wanted to shake my hand, yet I politely declined. Respect that appears after money isn't respected at all. That day taught me the greatest lesson of my life. Never measure your worth by what people can see. The quietest victories are often the biggest. The strongest people are usually the most underestimated. And sometimes justice doesn't arrive with anger or revenge. It arrives with paperwork, a signature, and the truth that no one can ever take away.